And we are live. Yes, this is Totally Recalled MMA. We're back with our third episode. Can you believe it? We made it to 3 episodes. I'm a little shocked. I'm a little impressed with us that we made it this far. I'm having a good night. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Feeling great, man. Episode 3.
Episode 3. Feeling good. Thanks for everyone who watched episode 2 and, of course, episode 1. We've been steady tweeting the link out, just trying to get some promo for the show going, and you guys have been steady with the views. I think we're almost at another 200 views for episode 2, and yeah, we just want to keep them coming because it definitely appears like we have an audience of people that are watching. So thank you so much for that, and we have a great show planned for y'all today. We're gonna go into UFC Austin, the events that transpired this past weekend. At UFC Austin, that was headlined by Donald Cerrone and Yancy Medeiros in a lightweight bout where Donald came through and defeated Yancy by first round TKO. Shout out to that boy. We're going to touch on that, some of the fights on that card. And then we're going to look ahead to this weekend where the UFC is in Orlando, Florida, in a Fox main event that features Josh Emmett and Jeremy Stephens, two featherweights, be it going at it. And there's a couple great fights on that card too. And then we'll just kind of open it up for discussion. And we're just going to go from there. So UFC Austin, let's jump into it. I already told you that Donald Cerrone defeated Yancy Medeiros in the first round. TKO. I think it was about how many seconds was it into the fight? It was probably, it says at the forfeit right before the round ended. So it was nice, man. I'm going to start with Tommy. General feelings about the fight. It was kind of short. We would have liked to see these guys go at it for a little bit longer, I would say. But, just how do you feel about Cerrone's performance?
I mean, Cerrone looked great. He looked rejuvenated. It seems like fighters that like to show him respect and give him hugs, he just knows how to control him. He knows how to take advantage of that because every fighter that I've seen in his past, 5 fights that have shown hugs, that have shown friendliness, he just seems to whoop them. Well, Matt Brown, like Ray said earlier before we started the show, Matt Brown, he was stone cold faced and just didn't show any sign of respect. And he pretty much put a good beating on Cerrone for 2 rounds. It's very competitive. But in the 3rd round, Matt Brown gave that hug, and then Cerrone hit him with that head kick, and he was out cold. So, I mean, maybe that's just a weird curse of fighters fighting Donald Cerrone. But he looked great.
I definitely agree. I think he looked good, and that's kind of one thing that I wanted to touch about was kind of the respect, the fun, feel good attitude of the fight, and the mutual respect that these two had for each other all week. At the last media stare down, Yancy coming up and gifting Cowboy with a cowboy hat, and it was just definitely interesting to see. It was a change of pace for sure. I want to ask though, do y'all think that the admiration that was shown, kind of just the bromance, if you will, especially hugging in the middle of a round, Medeiros seemed to slip and Cowboy let him back up and then they hugged and, laughed, and we all had a good time watching that. But do you think that influenced the fight? Do you think that if maybe Yancy had approached it with a different attitude, or if it wasn't so whatever, Tommy, you just said that you think he used it to his advantage. It's like, don't play nice with this guy. Ray, what did you think about just their relationship dynamic and how that may have affected the fight?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, for Yancy to be doing that, I think it's a beautiful thing to see. They're going in there. I like the sportsmanship. It's awesome to see. But you're in a fight, and Cowboys likes to be comfortable. He always starts off slow. Cowboy starts off slow. He's always nervous. Which fighter isn't? But to come in there and fight Cowboy, you can't be buddy-buddy with him. And just like Tommy said, how we were talking about earlier, everyone who has seemed to hug or be friendly with Cowboy has been destroyed in that 3rd round or whenever. And, Yancy, hold up, my bad, guys.
You're good, man. I definitely hear what you're saying. I feel like you're coming in there to fight. I did think it was cool to watch, a different side of fighters, and that it's, a lot of times when these guys come in there and they're just talking a bunch of shit, because that's kind of like the normal in this post Conor world that we live in, for fighters to come up and be aggressive and talk a bunch of shit and get the haters get the haters riled up and get people excited to see you know, the tension is what draws it. But I feel like I was definitely attracted to this fight because of the friendliness that was showed all week, because of the attitude that Cowboy specifically showed up for fight week with. The dude was coming off 3 losses, brutal losses, and I was you know, looking at his matchup with Yancey, and I was like, damn, man, the UFC just keeps feeding him killers. Like,
Definitely,
you know, another loss for his career would be you know, I'm sure he would still be fighting, but you know, it just wouldn't be good for him. And he just seemed to come in with bright spirits. He, you know, I saw an interview he did with MMA Junkie where it was really passionate. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but just like check it out. He was just talking about the whole fight night experience of going in there and having the bright lights on you, and he seemed really pumped. And I personally, like, I dug his vibes. I just don't know if maybe Yancey treated it the way that he should too. And also duly noted, you know, hop in the cage and hugging and kissing Cowboy's grandma. We just got a thing for post-fight kissing, as you know, as a thing. It just harping back to Yoel all over Rockhold a couple weeks back. But yeah, Tommy, you have anything else you kind of want to add to the fight as far as just the breakdown of it? I'll start off just by saying I really liked Cowboy's patience and how he seemed to figure out Yancey over that round and figure out his timing. But I'll leave some more analysis to you if you want to chime in.
Sure. Well, first of all, I agree with the stoppage, but I wouldn't have hated it if it went on to the second round, because Yancey in the Brazilian Cowboy fight, he was dead in that first round. He looked like it was going to be stopped, and he came back and finished him in the third round. Absolutely insane fight. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with the stoppage, but I wouldn't have hated if they let it go on further. I just think Cowboy had his number with the striking. I never really thought Cowboy was actually fading like dramatically in his career. It doesn't seem like he has a glass chin like some people made it out to be. I mean, Darren Till, he definitely worked him. He didn't knock him out cold.
We doubted him. I mean, like we were talking about, I mean, I remember talking about that Darren Till TKO just last week, and it almost looked like, yeah, you're right. It didn't knock him out cold. It was just Cowboy just kind of curled up, and it was different. It was a different kind of Cowboy. I think we saw a better version of him tonight, kind of like a brighter version.
Yeah, definitely. And also on that, you got to also remember Cowboy will take a fight a week or two after he just fought, and that kills him. You know, I think he was coming off of a fight maybe 4 weeks before that. I think it's just stuff like that. He takes these huge risks against guys he doesn't know. Like he said, he just says, "Where are we fighting at?" And that's all I need to know. I don't have to do research on my opponent, which it's a bad thing to do. You know, you have a guy in Darren Till, like no one knows that much about him, but we do now. I mean, he's a straight powerhouse, straight destroyed Cerrone, and I think that was like a wake up call. Like, wow, I need to do my homework. And just to touch up on the Yancey fight, is like I love the respect between them two. It was really awesome to see, and but you can't have that much respect for someone. You know, it's kind of like you're sparring. You know, like, oh, you got me. Like when he slipped, he got up. You know, they hugged each other. It's like we're like almost like they're sparring. You know, and it's kind of like that they're having fun with it. But it's just something I think that I definitely want to see a little bit more of that. You know, the friendliness, but. Like I said, it's a fight. At the end of the day, you need to fight, and you need to keep it like that. After the fight, hug and kiss all you want. Jump over the fence, kiss each other's mothers and grandmas all you want. But when you're in the octagon and the cage door locks, you fight. That's all. That's all I want.
Yeah, maybe not during the fight. I think that was the only thing that I maybe saw as really being a, you know, I didn't feel like it was necessary, but it was cool. The crowd cheered, and it was an entertaining fight. You know, first round knockouts it was dope. The knockout was dope, man. Homeboy Yancey did the chicken dance all the way to the floor. I mean, he took 10 seconds to fall, and he whoop across the cage.
It's sad to see, man.
Yeah.
I wanted Yancey to win, so just to see that, I was like, oh man, you know, he had the hype behind him after that last fight with Cowboy, and he took the L. He took the L,
but I do like Yancey. I like his attitude too. He seems like a nice guy. He's got a great personality, and he's a killer, and he'll be back for sure. Let's move on to the co-main event of of UFC Austin, we watched Derek Lewis get pretty much out wrestled, I would say, for sure, by his opponent, Marcin Tybura, in that heavyweight matchup. But the dude never gave up, and he came through in the third round and just pounded homie. Caught him at the right time. It was a vicious knockout from the Black Beast, and that's all what we love. That's what we love to see from him. He's a Texas native. He got to do it in front of his home state, and Derek's another one of those guys that has a great attitude too. So I'm super happy for him. But Tommy, just watching the fight, what were your general feelings about it?
Man, in that third round, I jumped out of my seat. I was going freaking crazy. I'm personally a big Black Beast fan, and he was losing that fight. I mean, it made me think of Curtis Blades versus Mark Hunt just a little bit, because Derek Lewis has that stand-up advantage, but Marcin Tybura has such a big wrestling advantage and was just taking him over. But Derek Lewis just has that unrelenting strength and just got the job done somehow. Don't know how, but he just I mean, impressive win, but I think he has a lot to work on in terms of wrestling and cardio and stuff like that.
It just seemed like he was able to just be taken down so easily. Like his balance was definitely off. It seemed more like Marcin was just, grabbing hold of him and just pushing him rather than actually being a takedown. He's got to work on that balance and on that mobility, but he doesn't have to work on his savagery, because he got that on lock. I mean, the knockout was great. Ray, what'd you think about the fight, man?
Yeah, the fight was awesome. I actually knew it was going to kind of play out like that. As far as the wrestling, I knew like that's their Lewis's weakness. So I figured that Tyson would resort to that. But I mean, I knew that Derek Lewis was going to knock him out. I just knew it. I knew he was going to get that gust to win. He always does it. When he's tired, he always saves up that one big shot. And when he came over with that left hook, it was nasty. It was nasty. So it was a really fun fight. I'm happy he got the win. I can't wait. Oh, actually, I wish him a quick recovery, because he actually broke his hand in that fight. So,
wow.
Yeah. So definitely, yeah, he tweeted it out this morning. So hopefully, speedy recovery. Shout out to my boy Black Beast. But yeah, we can't wait to see him again.
It's gonna be dope, and he's an active fighter, man. I think he fought like 3 times last year, and I know that he loves to fight. We'll see him again. And the rest of the card, I would say was pretty good. Fight of the night: Brandon Davis defeating Steven Peterson in a unanimous decision. Right, we were talking a little bit before about this matchup. It was a featherweight fight, and my man Brandon Davis came through with it. Ray, what do you want to share with us about this fight that had you so hyped?
This fight was everything I wanted it to be. You have 2 guys from Dana's White Contender Series that I both liked. And Brandon Davis, I mean, he's one of my favorites on the show. He's just a dope guy. But to see them bang it out like that was just it's all we want to see. That was epic. And shout out to my boy Brandon Davis, because he was looking phenomenal in that fight. And we got shout out to Steven Peterson. He was looking like a zombie. He catching a knee to the face, and he's wobbling, and he's telling him, "Come on, bring it on, let's go, let's scrap." And it's like, what is while he's wobbling, he's telling him, "Let's go, I'm up." And just to see that just got me so hype. I was standing up, I was screaming, because they're just 2 guys who just literally slugging it out. That was a barn burner, and it was just a phenomenal fight of the night. And the 2 guys from the Contender Series that I've watched, and it made me happy.
Hell yeah, that's what's up. I mean, it was definitely an exciting fight. Barn burner, like you said, both guys from Dana's camp getting that UFC money. Curtis Millender had a beautiful second round knockout, knee to the dome off Thiago Alves. That was a dope fight. And then also we saw Sage Northcutt defeating T-Bald Goaty. I believe that's how it is. That was kind of a cool fight. That fight was all over the place. Sage looks strong. Tommy, you got any comments about Super Sage's performance? He's kind of prodigal son of the UFC, 21 years old. Fine man, you've met him. What did you think about his performance?
Well, he's the same guy as you've seen him on TV. He acts exactly the same. Yeah, came into the UFC in 19. He was a big prospect. People threw him into the water too soon. He got submitted by Brian Barberena, and now and then he gets submitted by Mickey Gall too. And now I feel like he's finally getting into his groove. He's finally honing in on his abilities, and he's just being a lot more aggressive than he used to be. I can already see the improvements from his last fight in Norfolk, where and Cody, he really was trying to put damage on Sage Northcutt. This was one of his toughest fights, and I personally scored it 29-28 for Northcutt. I gave him I don't remember what rounds I gave him, but I thought he edged it out. It was a close fight. Ray, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I agree with you. It was definitely a close fight. He definitely took a lot of damage that fight. He took some pretty big shots. You know, it was a really close fight. But like you said, I think he edged it out. I think he won the first. I think he won the third. You know, yeah, he looked great that fight. And also, I want to touch up on a little bit more on his performance, I guess, is that his striking looked a little bit more clean. His feints look a little bit more clean. And I like this Sage a lot more because he's more riskier. Before we saw a more hesitant Sage, kind of like thinking about it. Now he's just going out there. He wants to give you his best shot. He's throwing more flip kick or flying kicks. He's throwing a little bit more spin kicks. He's trying to slug it out. So it's a fun Sage. I liked it.
I'm trying to do that karate shit, man. Karate Kid. I get Karate Kid vibes from him, man. He's super cool, and you know, both his UFC losses, he's got 2 now out of. Is he 2-2 in the UFC now, or 3-2 in the UFC? But both of his losses were when he went up to welterweight to fight. And you're right. At 155, he's hungrier and he fights hungrier, and like that's the Sage that we need to see. So good on him. We'll be waiting to see him fight pretty soon. Also, a fight that we previewed last week was the Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix round matchup between Matt Mitrione and Roy Nelson. And just kind of reason I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, literally just like 30 seconds, is because it was kind of a snooze fest. If I look at it, I don't think the fight lived up to the hype. Mitrione wasn't able to knock the dude out. Tommy, did you take a look at that fight, or did you guys watch that fight? Anything to say about it?
I did watch the fight, and there was some controversy that happened in that third round. Matt Mitrione said on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, he said that Roy Nelson stuck his toe inside the cage, so Matt Mitrione couldn't get out of his guard while he was on top of him in that third round.
Oh wow,
I thought that was pretty interesting. So.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that when I was watching it. I think I had Matt winning the first 2 rounds, and then Roy came through and had a great third round. Do you see the fight that way too?
Yeah.
Matt looked good, and yeah, we're just gonna see how he matches up against his next opponent. He'll fight the winner of King Mo and Ryan Bader. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I just wanted to briefly touch up on that before we get into UFC in Orlando, which is on Fox. It's on regular Fox, which is dope. We love it when the UFC is on Fox. The last UFC on Fox was in Charlotte, and it was kind of a dull card. I remember. It was just probably 3 weeks to a month ago now. But the UFC's got a pretty nice lineup for y'all fight fans here in Orlando. Like I said, it's headlined by 2 hard-hitting featherweights, Josh Emmett and Jeremy Stephens. That's number 4 ranked versus the number 7 ranked Stephens. Stephens is coming off a great knockout win, or a TKO win, I think it was, over Doo Ho Choi. That wasn't too long ago. That was a great performance by him. And Josh Emmett is coming off a huge knockout against Ricardo Lamas in his last fight. Yeah, I just kind of want to see how you guys feel about this main event. Ray, I'll start with you, buddy.
2 words, my favorite words: barn burner. It's going to be a scrap, and I'm very excited for this fight. I personally want the Little Heathen to win. I want Jeremy Stephens to win this fight, just because he's a cool guy. And nothing against Josh Emmett, but just due to the fact that his last fight he lost, he didn't make weight, and that's kind of one of the reasons I'm leaning towards Jeremy Stephens, just because it just wasn't professional of him to miss weight, and he's getting gifted this main event. So it's kind of like I want this to be a wake up call, and I hope he makes weight for this fight because I want Jeremy Stephens to put the pause on him. And but it's definitely going to be a scrap, and someone's definitely going to sleep. This isn't going to decision. So if someone's going to sleep this fight.
Hell yeah. I'm psyched. These 5-round main events, when you have guys that just hit hard, it's just gonna, the fight's not gonna go all the way. And that's how I see this one going too. Tommy, what do you think about this main event when you look at how these guys match up?
Well, I think it's a great matchup. I think Stevens is in the peak of his career right now. He's a top 6, 7, something like that. Josh Emmett, he came out of nowhere. Ricardo Lamas supposed to fight Jose Aldo. And then Emmett came in, knocked him out cold in the first round out of nowhere. No one was expecting that. No one saw that coming. And Josh Emmett made his presence in the division. Now he's fighting Jeremy Stevens. It's kind of a hard fight to predict because Josh Emmett really does not have much of a background to look at him on.
Yeah.
Competition except that Ricardo Lamas fight. I mean, if I was just judging it based on the last 2 fights, I'd pick Josh Emmett. But just the pedigree of Jeremy Stevens, just so many great wins over Hannah Morel, over Rafael dos Anjos, just many great wins. I really don't know who's going to win this fight. I mean, maybe I'll just pick Josh Emmett just for something crazy. But, what do you think, Hal?
I like the fight when I'm looking at it, man. I kind of have grown to like Jeremy Stevens, like this whole umbrella of he made the highlight reel of one of all the Conor shit talking videos, and like those videos that I love to watch. I mean, like he's the who the fuck is that guy, but he fucking knocks people out. I mean, like he's a hard hitter, and I think like that was when he kind of hopped on everyone's radar, and he got some big fights and started, showing why, he was able to, make a call out like that. And it's pretty cool. I'm excited to see him do his thing. I caught a little bit of his interview. They had him on, ESPN had him on First Take. He was getting interviewed by a bunch of football heads that don't know jack about MMA or the UFC and just wanted to talk about Floyd's chances in the octagon. I think maybe Stevens was, maybe prying a little bit to get that fight, and in his mother effing dreams, that's not happening. But it was cool to see how he's getting kind of a push, and yeah, I just kind of want to say that about his career. It's been cool to see how he's come from that moment to now. Yeah, moving on. There's some other recognizable names on this card that some casual fans might know. We've got Jessica Andrade fighting Tecia Torres in a what is that? This is a strawweight belt. No, this is
it's a great fight, man.
Yeah, I'm digging this. What weight is this fight at? Oh, 115. Yeah, it's a strawweight fight. All right, my bad. I'm getting my divisions confused. But I'm digging this fight. Ray, how do you feel about Andrade versus Tecia Torres?
Oh man, it's going to be a really fun fight. Man, I don't know how to call this fight because Jessica Andrade is extremely strong and she has really powerful wrestling, and she'll pick you up and she'll slam you right on your head and she'll beat you senseless on the ground. But Tecia Torres has that karate. She likes the body kick, to keep that push kick. She likes to keep her distance and pick her shots. So it's all going to come down to pretty much who can stay in their element the longest. If Jessica Andrade can take her to the ground and control her, it's definitely her fight. But if Tecia Torres can keep her in distance and keep point checking her and just playing her game, I feel like she could win this fight. But then again, Andrade likes to scrap. She's a slugger, so it's just I can't predict this fight. It's
a good matchup. Tommy, can you predict this fight?
Well, I feel like Jessica Andrade is like a female version of John Lineker. Jessica Andrade, I mean, her last fight against Gadelha, she just whooped Claudia Gadelha. I mean, I thought Claudia Gadelha was going to piece her up, point fight her, and get a decision win. But Jessica Andrade, with that resilience and just brutal strength, it's just Jessica Andrade is there's some fights it's like she's killing women in the ring. Crazy. And
she even had, I mean, she had a great showing against Joanna too. I remember that being one of my more favorable title defenses of Joanna's, because just that I really like that fight too. And there's some other names on this card that I think the fans will know. OSP's in that next fight. He's fighting Ilir Latifi. This is a light heavyweight bout. OSP has looked phenomenal. I'm pretty sure he's on a 3-4 fight win streak. Yeah, I'm psyched for OSP. Tommy, you said he was your favorite fighter. Just talk about him for a little bit and why we should tune in to watch this one.
Well, I don't really have a favorite fighter. I think he's one of my favorite fighters, but I don't really have a
True.
number one. But yeah, he's definitely up there. He's just looked the best he's been in his career. I mean, he came into the UFC like around 2013, and I actually saw his debut live at the Prudential Center. He fought John Vellante, and then he poked him in the eye, and there's some weird controversies there. Yeah, he's looking good. He looked fine against John Jones. I mean, he did as best he could against John Jones, and yeah. Corey Anderson was actually winning that fight, and OSP came out of nowhere with a flying head kick.
Vicious.
OSP's a wild fighter and never miss an OSP fight. So
no, he's dope. I'm excited for that one. But I think honestly, out of this whole card, I'm most excited to see Platinum Mike Perry fight. You know, I don't care who he's fighting. I'm tuning in. He's fighting Max Griffin. This is a welterweight showdown between Mike, who's just. I love the dude's personality. I mean, face tats. He's got that Florida attitude. He's performing it in front of his home city. I mean, Orlando is his home. I don't know if you guys have checked this dude's interviews, but his personality is just electric, and he's overcome a lot of odds, and he's quickly became one of my favorite fighters. He's coming off a loss to Santiago Ponzinibbio. That was a great fight, but I feel like he definitely got outstruck in it. He looked like he had some cardio issues in that fight. So I just hope he brings it together and does a good job against Brian and either knocks a dude out or just gives us a good performance from him. I know the fight's going to be great, but I really want to see him win. What do you guys feel about Mike and his chances this weekend?
Yeah, man. He has a great chance to win this fight. You know, he's one vicious guy. He can end the fight at any time. I do agree with you about the cardio issue. Last fight, he did look a little tired and looked like he wore himself out. But, you know, we're going against a guy that I'm not too familiar with, actually, for the first time. But I'm not too familiar with Max, so maybe I need to check him out and see what he's all about. But this, to me, looks like a fight to get Mike Perry, back up and talking. It's just, he's just such a vicious guy, and he KOs people. And once I do my homework, I see what this guy's about, and we'll see from there. But I'm excited he's in his hometown. He's a straight up gangster. So we'll see. There's definitely gonna be, if he wins this fight, he's definitely gonna call somebody out. So I'm hyped.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's electric behind the mic. Any thoughts about Platinum Mike Perry? Any?
Mike Perry's must-see TV. Fights. Yeah, from his first fight to now. I mean, he somehow got on that Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz 2 main card, and he just made the most of his TV time. So yeah, I mean, I think he's probably gonna get the win here. I think the UFC matched him up to just get a win back on his feet. I mean, Darren Till hasn't had a fight scheduled yet, so maybe they're waiting for something. Who knows? Mike Perry versus Robbie Lawler, that'd be crazy. But Mike Perry's got to get past Max Griffin first. I mean, I hope he can get it done, and I think he gets it done. So yeah,
that's what's up, man. I like those thoughts. I definitely appreciate that you guys are on the Mike Perry wave. This dude is man. Just go follow him. I'm pretty sure his handle is like @Platinum Mike Perry. But he's dope. And just like you were saying, you'd love to see him against Till. You'd love to see him against You'd love to see him against Lawler. Like, anytime this guy fights, like, I just want to watch him fight. I don't care against really who it is. I like that Ponzinibbio matchup for him. I thought he was going to beat Santiago, but he's still getting his bearings. He's only had what is he? I think he's 4 or 5 fights in now. So he's just getting used to it now. He's just getting started out here. And that does kind of close it for the main card of Orlando, but just kind of talk on that subject of fights that we want to see later this year. I don't know about y'all. When I saw Nate Diaz, lighting that joint up on national TV when the camera cut to him like a boss, I was actually thinking, yo, man, you got to get off the weed and get back in the octagon. I'm trying to see Nate this year. It's just a lot of matchups that we want to see made. Tommy, what's your kind of dream fight that you want to see? Maybe it's that hasn't been booked. What's your dream fight that the UFC could make right now that would make your whole year?
I mean, right now the fight that I'm thinking of is Ngannou versus the Black Beast.
Ooh.
That's what I'm thinking right now.
Ooh.
I mean, I thought about Curtis Blades versus Francis Ngannou, but then I really thought the Black Beast versus Ngannou is the superstar fight to make. Put that on a Fox card headliner. I would pay tickets to go see it. That would just be an amazing fight. I don't know who would win that fight. So yeah, I mean, both of them have cardio issues, and both of them swing very hard.
Yeah, that one. If that one,
Perfect.
if that one main event, it's not going 5 for shit. Someone's getting KO'd, and they have thrown some like shade at each other. Like they've done some back and forth shit talking, which is cool. You know, English is Ngannou's second language, but he was bodying Stipe in the trash talk. Like just with the way that he talks, it's like my fist, it stopped them. Like it's tight.
Don't like Stipe. Don't like Stipe. So scary.
Yo, he is a scary dude. That's a fight I want to see. Ray, what's your dream fight, bro?
Okay, my dream fight would be Max Blessed Holloway versus Conor McGregor. That is my dream fight. I want to see that rematch. I think it would be a really fun fight. You know, they're always talking crap to each other and doing low blows on Twitter or Instagram. They're always posting about each other. So I think that would be an awesome second fight. What do you guys think about that fight?
There is no doubt that Holloway is not the same Holloway that he was when they fought. How many years removed are we from that? That was what, 3 or 4 years ago now.
I think 4. I think 4.
And up until Diaz 2, that was the only fight that McGregor had gone the decision on, and that went 3 rounds. McGregor won all 3 rounds of that fight pretty clearly. If I remember, he's, you know, that was when McGregor was on his savage featherweight shit, and and yeah, I definitely think it's a hard fight for Conor now. Like that's like
it's an awesome fight. I want that fight to happen so bad, but you know, it probably won't. But if I could talk to Sean Shelby, like, hey, let me make a fight, you know, I would definitely be like Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway 2. That'd be a huge pay-per-view. You can't tell me that. That's an insane pay-per-view. That's a mega fight to me. Like, in my opinion, that's a huge fight.
It is a mega fight. I think the champ. Oh wait, no, he's the champ. Oh no, wait, he's about to not even be the champ of anything. He's got business to attend to clearly, and yeah, my dream fight is right now is just Conor versus anybody. That is the dream. That is the dream fight, man. I get the most hype from McGregor fights. The dude has just such an electric personality in the octagon, in the boxing ring. I just the hype for the fights. That's what gets the fans excited is the hype. We got sold on the hype last year when he fought Mayweather, and you know that his kind of absence from the sport has totally been felt. And so, you know, when he announces his next fight, it's just going to be, you know, the hype is just going to get realer and realer. Everything this guy does is bigger than the next fight. I'd like to see him fight the winner of Khabib and Ferguson. I think that's probably number 1 for me. And then number 2 is the Diaz trilogy fight. So it doesn't matter which comes first, which comes second, and it doesn't matter, honestly. It don't matter. He can do whatever he wants. What do you guys feel about McGregor, and what do you guys think his next move will be if he returns to the octagon in 2018?
Tommy, you got it. Tommy got this one.
Well, whoever wins, Ferguson or Khabib, Conor fights them. If he wins or loses, he can fight Diaz and still make a lot of money, because there doesn't have to be any belts on the line for the Diaz trilogy. So, I mean, I don't really know what's next for him after that. I really don't think he can make 145 again, even though I would love to see Holloway versus McGregor too. But, yeah, I feel like he's got those big 2 fights. I mean, Mayweather and MMA, throw that in there.
Throw that one in there.
Yeah, so he's making a lot of money.
Making a lot of
Definitely,
money.
man. It's definitely. Just to touch up a little bit on just Conor McGregor. It would be really awesome to see him come back. Like I said, I definitely want to see him fight. Actually, I'll take that back. He can fight either Tony or Khabib. It doesn't matter. But just to see him back in general would be awesome. I think it would be dope if he came back, fought the winner of Khabib and Tony, got the title, and defended his belt against Nate. And now we have a super fight. We have a trilogy title fight. How epic would that be? How epic would that be?
Super epic, and it's like this. The stars are gonna have to align perfectly. And McGregor's got to put his name on the line. He's got to get it out there. I think getting stripped of the belt if when the UFC announces, because I think, like we said, they're waiting for the two the two lightweight fighters, Khabib and Tony, to weigh in. So they're gonna wait to strip him, but I think that getting stripped, it kind of frees up his options. Like you're right, he could go fight Diaz, or he could go fight Floyd Mayweather in MMA, and we just don't know. It's the mystery that surrounds the man that has us all just wanting him to come back. So I feel like getting through those dream fights is pretty good. I feel like we had a good run through of Austin, had a good run through of Orlando. And now we're just kind of waiting for the next pay-per-view. These fight cards have been good the past couple weeks. What do you guys think?
Yeah, man. The cards have been awesome, especially for the crazy geeks like we are for the MMA cards. It's been awesome fights, and hopefully the streak keeps on going. Hopefully they announce more fights, and I think it's going to be a great year. What about you, Tommy?
Oh yeah, I love the fights that have been announced recently. Chicago card's looking good. Brazil's looking good. They just added Gadelha versus Esparza. That'll be a pretty fun one.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of good matchups in the future.
It's going good, and I think that we've covered our bases. Where we wrapped up those events pretty nice, and we'll be back next week with the Orlando recap. We'll be talking about some of the later fight cards as well. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and hope everyone has enjoyed our show so far. Like I said, we plan to be uploading every week, Thursday at pretty much the latest. I think Thursday's been the day that we've been uploading. Maybe we'll get it down to Wednesday night, but just thank y'all so much for watching. We really appreciate it here at Totally Recalled MMA. We're just growing, and this is just some shit we like to do. We just like to chop it up. Y'all want to say your pieces tonight before we go?
Deuces, everybody.
Peace out.